Well, that was a great workout ideal for the weekend, and it's Friday, and it's that time of the morning where we chat about the sporting highlights, and so much has happened in the last week. Garrin, welcome from Sport 24. Great to have you here.
Morning, Liesl. Good to be here.
Now, where do we start? Let's start with the semi-finals in the Rugby World Cup that's taking place this weekend. Are we even allowed to talk about it? I should be wearing black in mourning.
It is. I am wearing black, but that's more to support the All Blacks because I'm behind them for the rest of the tournament. After we were knocked out.
You are not even speaking to me anymore.
Very sad, obviously, South Africa no longer in the World Cup, but the first semi-final on Saturday, 10 o'clock South African kickoff. You've got Wales up against France, all Northern Hemisphere, Six Nations clash. Wales looked very good in beating Ireland in the quarterfinals. France unbelievably beat England,
yes,
which nobody really predicted. They've named an unchanged. Well done. They've named an unchanged team for their semi-final. Wales have lost their fly-off. Reece Priestland, he suffered an injury. They brought in James Hook, not a bad replacement. I expect Wales to perhaps be a bit too structured for the French, who like to throw the ball around. Wales perhaps to come through that game, but a close result. Yeah. Second semi-final Sunday morning, also at 10 o'clock South African time. You've got Australia up against the All Blacks. Australia named an unchanged side from the one that beat South Africa last weekend. New Zealand
just beat South Africa.
Just 11-9, very, very close. The All Blacks, they've had to make a few more changes. Richie McCaw has passed the fitness test. He will start. They brought Israel Dagan at fullback. They brought Richard Kahui in on the wing. Sonny Bill Williams drops to the bench. A strong-looking All Black side. You know, they've got fantastic history against each other, those two teams. Unbelievably, at the World Cup itself, Australia and New Zealand have played each other twice. Australia have won both those games, but they've got a poor record in New Zealand, in Auckland at Eden Park. So, you know, history favours the All Blacks from that side of things. I expect them to win. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Australia won. They've got a really shrewd coach in Robbie Deans. It will be a fantastic game. Perhaps the All Blacks by a couple of points. All Blacks Wales final the following weekend. Should be exciting stuff.
Now, I'm sure you've seen the headlines this morning with Professor Tim Noakes.
I did. I haven't read the whole article, I must confess, but very interesting. I'll have to read it afterwards to see what happens. Obviously, if it is true, something for the IRB to investigate, but too late for South Africa to be included at this stage. But
so now, all our Springboks are back in the country. Are they going to be playing Currie Cup?
They're back. Some of the teams have included their players, not all of them. A couple in the starting lineup. The Lions, for example, they're top of the log. They're guaranteed a home semi-final. They're up against the Sharks this weekend. Their only Springbok is Butch James. He's on the bench. The Sharks, they've included a couple. Pat Lambie's back. Odwin Undugani starts, but they've got a couple. Bismarck, Yanni du Plessis on the bench. That game in Durban. The Cheetahs rather up against Griquas. That game in Kimberley should be a Titanic.
It's going to be a Titanic after last week's one with the
after the Griquas beat your Blue Bulls. Your Blue Bulls, unfortunately, not looking good for a semi-final berth this year. Final. You know, Province in fourth position at the moment. They've rushed back almost all of their bucks. They've got a tough game against the Pumas, who have been playing better rugby than in previous years.
Yes.
That game at Newlands on Saturday. A lot of the box back. Gio Aplon, Brian Banner's back. Skalkberger's on the bench, but I'm sure they'll call on him if they need him. So if Province do win with the bonus point, they're guaranteed a semi-final spot. They'll play on the Lions. No matter what happens between the Cheetahs and the Sharks, they play each other in the semi-finals as well. So
as a Pretoria girl living in Cape Town, who am I supposed to be supporting?
Definitely Western Province. Unfortunately, Bulls got no chance.
Now, we also saw our cricketers in action yesterday.
They were. The first game of the season. You know, bad week for South Africa versus Australia.
Yeah, terrible week,
we've come out
no
on the wrong end of both results. So the first T20 at Newlands last night, South Africa won the toss. They got Hashim Amla captaining the side. AB de Villiers out with a broken finger. We went down by 6 wickets in the end. It wasn't actually that close, even though the match went to the final over. Perhaps South Africa 15 to 20 runs short of what they would have liked. The second 2020 at the Wanderers in Joburg on Sunday, 2:30 start for that game.
You were going to say kickoff.
I was. And then 3 ODIs after that, and 2 test matches before Sri Lanka actually come to visit South Africa in Christmas, New Year.
So we're going to have a lot of cricket action.
Bad start for Gary Kirsten in his first match as Proteas coach.
What do you think? Is there a chance?
I think, look, the 2020 is very hit and miss. Anything can happen. So I expect better things going forward.
Well, Garrin, it's always great to chat to you. Before I say goodbye, what do you normally have for breakfast?
Breakfast, eggs, sunny side up, bacon, a bit of mushroom, tomatoes if I'm lucky enough.
Well, you might just be lucky enough today because we're going to go over to our kitchen to see what the boys are cooking up. Thanks for joining us, Garrin.
It's a pleasure.
Stay with eXpresso and SABC3.